What is going on, y'all? Just gonna go ahead and do my initial ride review and thoughts on the Outlander 1000R. And got about 20 miles on it now, enough to kind of see some things I don't like and the things I really do like. But figured I'd show my other little small members of my power sports enthusiast family. Got the two little Recons, excellent for being almost indestructible for teenage boys. The classic 95 Kodiak. She's not without her age-earned issues, but still a classic. And of course, my baby. That is my baby. The X3. She's gonna get some love soon. But the newest baby, the Outlander 1000R XT. I know that on break-in, the Rotax V-twins definitely drink some gas. At about 18 to 20 miles, she's already burnt almost right about half a tank. Now, I expect that to improve, hopefully substantially, because I'll have to carry like 2 4-gallon roto packs to ride in national forest areas if it don't improve much. But I'll start at the front. The greatest thing to me about the XT package, you get the bumper, factory installed winch. To me, that's a very big deal because the fit and finish of the install is great. Instead of doing it yourself or, you know, having another shop do it, having it installed from the factory is great. You get the rear bumper as well. Would love to have gotten the XTP to gotten the B-lock rims and the 4-lock front end, but that'll be okay. Looking under here, one thing I'm against, I don't like having to grease anything. Although I don't mind doing it, that's one thing the Japanese do so well that I just have come to the conclusion that North American manufacturers are just never going to get there, apparently. You do not need to grease bushings. You don't need to grease anything. With high quality seal compressed bushings, there's no need for it. My Suzuki King Quad, the Grizzly, I mean, you don't have to grease anything and those bushings will last thousands upon thousands of miles. You'll more than likely wear the motor out before you have to worry with bushings and things of that sort. But it is what it is. I know I'm gonna have my minor complaints in here, but also as well, the rear output shaft. You can see the grease alamite, or zerk, some call it, right there, and there's also one in the front, and it's at an angle. To me, I prefer the drive line to be straight in line. There's zero reason, you know, for it to have to come in at an angle. It creates unneeded stress on the opening of the diff and the U-joint in the drive shaft itself, the output shaft. But not a big deal, of course. You know, I'm sure they engineered it knowing that, and it's going to be just fine. But still, just like on the King Quad, the drive line is perfectly in line, front and back. So that's just an opinion. It's nothing really that's that bad. I just personally don't see any need in having to grease anything ever. But that's the minor complaints. I'm getting them out of the way first. Definitely puts out an excessive amount of heat during these first 20 miles. I had to raise my right leg up here wearing shorts. Probably going to be a no-no for this thing. Just, you know, with my pants, not a big deal at all. I didn't really pay attention, but wearing shorts, sandals, flip-flops, heat was almost unbearable on my leg. My brute forces were the same way though. It's just something about these V-twins and then all this extra shrouding stuff, it just like holds that heat in. Few minor fit and finish issues. I know this is nitpicking, but like I said, I love Can-Am, but I'm also not going to be biased. You know, that doesn't seal completely shut. The edges of these racks are extremely sharp. You might not think you could, but in the wrong moment, grabbing, falling, strapping down, you could actually probably cut your hand on them. I just think they should be molded under. But that's minor. Like I said, these aren't big deal. They're not, you know, major things. Let's move on. That's really about the only negatives. I've noticed the heat. Obviously, braking fuel economy is really bad, but hopefully that improves it decently so. We're going to move on to the positives. The redesign to the headlights, fantastic. They put out a tremendous amount of light to not have the third headlight. No complaints. Don't miss the third headlight. Not going to be an issue. They look great. Put out a lot of light. Love them. The hand guards obviously will be a bonus, keeping brush off your hands in the winter. That'll help keep your the cold air off your hands. The seat, not as good as the Polaris Sportsman 1000 I had, of course. Probably not ever going to be a seat that beats that thing. It was like heavenly clouds to your rear end. But I will give Can-Am props. This is definitely a better, more comfortable seat than what was on my Grizzly or what was on my King Quad. They did a really good job. It's soft, grippy. You don't slide on it too much. Like that a lot. Move up here. I also really love right there when they added intelligent engine braking. That actually works phenomenally well. Really love that. Riding the Sportsman 1000, you know, if you were doing like under 20, slowing down for going down an embankment where it was, man, it would just bam. It would just grab so hard, and the engine braking was way overbearing. Minimum, probably gonna just leave it on medium. Minimum's not enough. High is, I can live with it, but medium is just right. Just right. This is the same as the work mode and performance mode and standard mode on my XP 1000 I had. It's just Can-Am with Can-Am. You can click it once to the left and turn on work mode, once to the right, turn it off. And when work mode off and not showing sport mode, you're in standard mode. You click it once to the right and it beeps when it goes into sport mode, and Lord, that's a great thing because you need to know when you're in it. The sensitivity of the drive-by-wire throttle, man, she's ripe and ready to go right then and right then. The low-end power is like my modded Brute times 3. I will add also, this can go back to a minor little gripe. The thumb throttle is so short. I've got average size hands, not small, not big. My normal comfortable grip is to grip right here. Well, you notice that my thumb hits this housing. I know it had to expand to incorporate the wiring for the ITC and the IEB. I know that. But my opinion is either compress this housing, move it inward a little bit, or elongate the throttle lever. I know we can change that, but I'm speaking on just picking it up and how it is from the factory. Incredibly easy to push, but where my hand comfortably and naturally sits, I found myself just rubbing almost an indentation into my thumb. Obviously, you can just drive like this. I'll probably get an extender so that where I comfortably sit here, my thumb won't have to stretch out as far and I can just press right here. Not a big deal, but like I said, kind of an ergonomic thing. I've heard complaints about the shifter, but honestly, I've had them all. The Grizzly, the Brute Forces, and probably the King Quad have the smoothest shifters you're going to get. But I have no complaints with this. Honestly, it works plenty smooth enough to me. You know, if I feel like it's even spongy at all, I'll just blip the throttle, make sure it's comfortably engaged in gear. Not a huge deal, right? Change your power steering settings right here. Honestly, I like it on max. For me, when I get ready to ride in Moccasin Gap, Mount Magazine, any of these areas I go to that are really rocky, I probably will leave that on max because I want as much resistance to the handlebars jerking back and forth over them rocks as I can get. High-speed fire roads, maybe you'll want to turn it down to minimum. But for me, for now, max. And that right there is true. It's definitely high performance. Trying to think. I think I've pretty much covered everything. The XT does not get you the Visco 4-lock front end, but the QE, I had it on my Can-Am Maverick Trail 1000R, the 2020 I had, and it honestly works. It works good enough. It's not as good, obviously, as a locking front end, but it works good enough. I'll probably never need anything better than that. I don't really mud bog. I don't really directly mud ride anymore. I would add also, I noticed there's quite a bit of drivetrain noise. I'm not sure if it's the CVT or if it's the gears and the rear diff. But from about 20 to 30, there's quite a bit of a whir, whir, whir. That's the best way I can describe it. Kind of like this, y'all probably laugh at that, but that's kind of what it sounds like. And it reminds me of the straight cut gear deal with the brute forces. You know, when I dug into them, and I'll always have a soft spot for them. They treated me well, and they're a lot of fun for the money. But about 20 to 30 mile an hour, you get that noise pretty stout. I checked the gear oil on the rear end because, hey, we all know sometimes when they're coming off production lines, not everything gets filled up right. I checked it, couldn't quite see any gear oil looking down in there, but it's a pretty deep inlet. So I'm going to fix and pick up some 75 140. We're going to top that off until you can see it come out the hole. It ain't going to hurt a thing. Trying to think. The key, not a big deal. I've heard a lot of people complain, man, it's really easy to knock off. I probably will get a float, one of those little float rings to put on it just in case. I don't see it really being an issue at all. Definitely built better than my Polaris. Everything, you know, when I look under here, just the way everything's constructed, just looking at it, the sway bar there and there, a lot better design on my Sportsman 1000, whereas it sit right here and it was almost just like two metal lids just squeezing a cheap rubber bushing together, 500 miles of riding, and sometimes the things blow out. That's not just the hate on Polaris, it's just things I notice better about the Outlander that I enjoy. I do feel it's made better. Anything's gonna break if you abuse it. You know, let's be clear about that. I could take this Outlander right now and go break it, but average riding, enjoying it versus average riding, definitely like the looks of the build quality better on my Outlander. Let's see, before I end my initial thoughts and review. 18.5, so I was just shy of saying 20 miles. Got it in work mode, which is actually, Can-Am has work mode just absolutely perfect. It's really nice for riding. But as you can see, one bar from being half a tank. I know it's break-in, but really hoping to squeeze a little more out of that, because when I go in the national forest areas, man, I may ride, you know, 80 to 100 miles in a day. So I feel like probably with at least one 4-gallon roto pack and maybe one 2-gallon, I should be all right. I think I've pretty much covered everything that I can think of for my initial thoughts. We're gonna figure something out about that whirring sound. I'm gonna make sure that rear diff is completely full. She's a beauty. I do love the design, love the look. Everything about it, the power is insane. Really looking forward to comparing it to my X3. I'm gonna have, obviously, racing content coming up on that. It'll be just a little bit though. Gotta free up some time to get me a good trusted set of hands on that, because obviously I can't drive them both. I really feel like the Outlander's gonna run right with it for a good ways, but even though this is the base DS120, when it was dynoed at Whalen Tuning, they was getting like 130 at the wheels. I think there's a little sandbagging going on there. She's probably a little better than 120, but top speed a little over 90 mile an hour. That's probably about 79 at the rev limiter. Maybe it touches 80. So Could be interesting though. You got 91 horsepower and 890-ish pounds, about 120, 130 horsepower and about 1550-ish pounds. Could be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. But overall, like I said, my overall reaction, I freaking love it. Every machine's gonna be different. None of them's gonna be exactly like the other one. But as far as overall fit and finish, I am a fan of Japanese build machines, but as we all know, Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Suzuki, they don't build nothing like that. So it's up to Can-Am and Polaris. And I will not hate on the King Quad or the Grizzly at all. Extremely well built machines. Fit and finish is top notch. I'll give Can-Am a 95% positive grade on fit and finish. Definitely better than my Sportsman. But, you know, I don't want nobody thinking that that's a major deal. That's nitpicky stuff, but I try to be unbiased when I review a machine. Just because I buy it, I want, you know, whoever's watching it to, you know, be able to decide for themselves. Me, I'm really stoked to be Can-Am'd out for my two machines. I am a Can-Am fan, but I appreciate y'all watching. There will be content coming up involving these two. Hoping to take that thing to Moccasin Gap, maybe Mount Magazine here real soon. And as always, I thank y'all for watching and stay tuned. I'm throwing this in here real quick. I can't believe I forgot about this in my review. Storage. I kind of thought there might be, you know, would have been some up front, but there's no storage up front at all. But you do have a very big and very deep back tank. You can put things in here. I mean, it's good size. Not sure about how waterproof it is. Hopefully I won't ever have water up there. I mean, it's huge. You can put a lot in there. I would have there you go, push it up at the very top and it seals off. I mean, that's a lot, that's good. But would have still liked to maybe had a waterproof canister built into here, or either side, doesn't matter. And throw that in. If you know, you throw your wallet in, keys, it's 100% waterproof. No big deal, but I wanted to add that in there because I had forgotten to cover storage. So could use a little more storage, but I can live with using that back canister. I'm gonna throw this on the end. This is how much I trust work mode, which I'm out here right here supervising her, but my daughter can easily just drive it in work mode. Go ahead, keep easing on it. You're good. Listen to that V-twin thump. I'll just let her ease it around the yard. Trying to finish the break in before I get footage of really ripping on it. Can't wait to let that 91 horsepower loose. Like I said, can't tell for 100%. Maybe if that's gear wise, I don't even know if Can-Am, you know, uses straight cut gears in the transmission. Honestly, I don't know. But it just, when I had her drive and I kind of held my head down here, it sounds like that sound is coming from the rear diff. Very well might be the CVT, not 100% sure. But I was just gonna throw that on there, let you hear it running. She can easily drive it around, and she's 10. In work mode. They really got work mode tuned nicely with throttle input mapping. All right, we'll catch y'all later.